Let's remove all these scratches from this disc so we can play it again. For that, we're going to be using the JFJ Easy Pro, and everybody has a different way of using it, so I'm going to show you what's worked for me with hundreds and hundreds of discs. For starters, I try to make sure that the buffing pad is fully wet. From here, we're going to move over to the disc, and for the purposes of this demonstration, we're going to use the solution provided by the vendor, and their instructions tell you to put it on the buffing pad, but we find that we get better results when we actually put it on the disc itself. Our theory behind this is that it leads to covering more of the surface of the discs and taking care of more of the scratches on it. If you're ever in a bind, we find that this Meguiar's Ultimate Compound does the job just as well, in some cases even better. Now what we're going to do is take our disc with the solution that's been applied to it, and we're just going to smear it all the way around, making sure to cover as much of its surface as possible. I know it can seem kind of goofy or feel funny as you're doing it, but this has worked for us on so many games. I could not begin to tell you how many games we've rescued. Now, personally, I grew up poor, so I make sure to save every last drop, as you can see. Another thing I strongly recommend is to put some type of cloth or rubber gasket, perhaps, to protect the disc. These machines are known for leaving scratches or ring marks around the inner rim of the disc if you don't, just because of the pressure that's being applied to it. So our first run was for 1 minute, and as you can see, it's already looking a lot better. At this point, I'm going to make sure that the pad is wet once again, and I'm going to run it for another 20 seconds or so. Once this is done, we're going to proceed to remove all the residue that's still on the surface of the disc. Now, the manufacturer instructs you to just start wiping away with the microfiber cloth that they give you. But if you think about it, we used an abrasive solution to basically sand off a very, very small layer of a disc. So what's going to happen when you scratch it again? Just dry. So instead, what we're going to do is use a wet microfiber cloth. It's going to take us a couple of extra passes to wipe it all off, but we find that this is a safer method of going about it. We can see here the result. We still have a few scratches, but it's a long way from where it was. And when we pop it in, you can see that it's already working. If this hadn't, then we would try it a few more times. Tell us how you do it or if you got questions.